Hey everybody, it's Mr. Ochoa here showing you how we are going to take our submitted formal and candid portraits, how we are going to choose our two best, meaning our best formal and our best candid, and how we are going to go into Photopea to prepare them for final submission. There are a few things that we are going to be kind of learning here on the fly, but also very important to the future processes in this class. The first things first is how we can get our images from Classroom and into Photopea. So this is student view, meaning it's exactly what you guys see. So after you've submitted your photos, you should see all the files you've submitted here in your final portrait submissions. So you're going to decide which of your formal and candid portraits best show your subject and are the ones you'd like to use in this assignment. I've already made my choice of my four here. I am choosing to download this file number. You'll see it here on my computer downloading, and this file number. That is a formal portrait, and that is a candid portrait. So these files are here and ready to go for the next step in our process. So once your files are downloaded, you can hit plus or make a new tab, and you can go to photopea.com. And we have some options. So what we're going to do for this one is we are going to hit new project. So new project has some things you need to specify before something gets created. So here's how we are going to name it. We can name it Final Portraits. And I like for us to add our first name and our last name here. The next thing is going to be these kind of credentials, but you don't have to worry about those because we are going to go to Photo and we are going to go to 8 by 12. That's the size of a standard piece of paper, so that way we can print it out later if we wanted to show our artwork. We are all going to follow these steps because just in case your artwork needs to get shown, we can all print it out with no issues. And the last thing we're going to do before hitting create is instead of a white background, we're going to make it black. So when you hit create, it's going to open a blank page. So this page is vertical. Something I want to do is I want to rotate it. I want to change it to horizontal. So something you can do here is you can hit image, transform. Transform allows you to change whatever is happening in here. So if I transform rotate 90 degrees, my image is now horizontal. And the reason it's going to be horizontal is because we are going to have our formal portrait and our candid portrait side by side. So now that we have our background, we can bring in those photos we chose. And that's where we go to File, and you guys are going to hit Open and Place. In your downloads, you should see your two pictures that you downloaded. So I'll pick one, and you'll see it's loading, and I'm going to bring it in. So just like we've done in Google Docs or Google Slides or anything, you use your corners to change the size. Never hit the sides because it's going to make it all wonky and stretchy. So you're going to go to your corner, but something to remember is that you need to hit the shift button. That allows the photo to remain the same aspect ratio and resolution. So I'm going to change the size and I can move it. I know this is going to be on one side here. And as you can see, I brought this image in and it has become a layer. These layers are going to be very important when we're going to be manipulating these photos in a moment. So the next thing I can do is File, Open and Place again, and grab that second image so I'm ready. It might automatically do something, but you still need to hold Shift, get it to a good size, and we're going to bring these images in side by side. You may need to adjust so they're all the same size. There we go. So now we have our two portraits in and ready to be changed and manipulated. So the big thing here is remembering about your tools. This move tool right here allows you to move these things. A big thing to make sure of is that your transform controls and your auto select are on. Auto select makes whatever I click, if I click this, it shows that layer. If I click this, it shows that layer. And transform controls allows you to have those controls whenever you hit a new image. So I have my two portraits here and ready to go. So here comes the next step. We are going to be turning our images into black and white. And we are going to be playing around with some of the levels that we can do. So I choose this image first to change. So what we're going to do is we're going to add what's called an adjustment layer. Adjustment layers allow you to manipulate one layer of what you're working on. So we're going to hit new adjustment layer and we are going to go black and white. So you can see that this layer has been added to this layer right here. And you're going to notice that you have some levels here to play with. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so we have that in focus. So with our layers, you can see that this black and white image is brought up and it looks okay. But maybe there's some things you want to highlight or make look better. So each person's job is going to be to play around with some levels. Do I want things to be dark and gloomy? Bright and glowing? Find the level that works with your image. Each color changes different things in the background. I can make it look really dark and smoky, or I can make it look overly bright, or I find the right amount that highlights my subject. Green will work on some things. You can see it's changing the shirt and stuff right here. You're going to find the level that works for your image. Try not to have an image that's too blacked out or too glowing bright. That's not real. Try to find the crispest version of what you're trying to show. And this is going to be left up to you guys. I'm going to let you guys play with these levels so that way you can find the best image you think you can that shows your subject the way you want. So I've played with these levels. So you can hit this and this again, and those levels go away. I can hit my magnifying glass, hit minus, and zoom out. And then I can zoom in on this next image I want to work on. Another tool is the hand tool. It allows you to move your canvas around. So just to have some space for these levels that are going to be here, I know that I want to work on this image next. And you see I clicked it and that layer is selected. So I'm going to do the same thing. Layer, new adjustment layer, black and white. And I can start to play around with this again. Play with some of these blacks. I can make it really scary, or I can make it super hyper glowing, or somewhere nice in the middle. I can play with the yellows. I know he would want his tattoos to be in focus as much as possible. Sometimes playing with a level might just change one thing. Look at this little TV. It'll jump it up and down. So really, really pay attention to what changes with these levels and what you want to show. I'm okay with a little bright there. The cyan changes certain things. It'll brighten up the machines, or it'll bring them down a little bit. You just got to find the right level for each color that works with the image you're trying to show. This adds a little bit of a light glow. This brings things down to a nice shade. And pretty much it's going to be up to you guys. Some of those certain levels, what you're going to change, and that's going to be up to you. But by the end, everyone should have their images on a black background. Here, let me zoom out a little bit. Minus. There we go. So I now have two images, one formal, one candid. I'm making sure they are exactly the same size, making sure they are centered. You'll see a little line come up. That tells you when you're centered. And we are submitting images just like this. This is the best way that we can have both of these portraits working together, showing those two different sides of that subject. So, here, let me go ahead. Give me a moment, leave student view. Let me go to modules. And let's publish these for the sake of what we're going to be doing right now. So when you are done, the really biggest, most important thing is how we save. So now that we are done with this image, there's nothing else tweaking I want to do. If you wanted to go back, you could click your adjustment layer, hit Pro, which means properties, and you could change whatever you want before you save. But if you feel like you're done, you can file, export as a JPEG. That is the file format that we want for the submission for this assignment. Not PNG, not SV, none of this. JPEG. Format JPEG, everything is right, everything is good, quality 70%. Just like it says, hit save. And you'll see it downloads right onto your computer. So just like before, if I wanted to submit my final portraits, there's that rubric, there's everything. I can, well, I'm going to go into student view, obviously. And there's always the submit assignment. I can choose my file. You should see your final portrait in your downloads. And there we go. So that is the process from getting our pictures from our submission into Photopea and doing the adjustments that we want to do before submitting our final. This is very important because it shows us that we are naming that file, that we are having that file formatted correctly, that we are making some adjustments, and we are submitting and saving. So pretty much that's what's going to be expected of you guys between now and next class. So if anybody has any questions, make sure to reach out to me. And if anybody's working on this in class, I can, of course, help as well. So please make sure you're reaching out with questions, and I'll see you guys in class.